Can you imagine being told by your doctor that you're diabetic and you really need to make some changes in your diet, but you'll have to figure those things out for yourself? Well, that's precisely what happened to our guest on today's program. And the amazing thing is he did figure those things out and brought his A1c and his blood glucose down from really high to beautifully normal. Well, folks, I'm excited to have a man by the name of Scott. Pronounce your last name for me, Scott.
Errebo.
Errebo. Okay, Scott Errebo. And Scott has a powerful story to share with you. So, Scott, welcome to Beat Diabetes.
Thank you, Dennis. Nice to be here.
Well, great. It's exciting to have another testimony of victory, and that's what we emphasize with these interviews, testimonies of people who have seen tremendous victory over diabetes. And in your case, Scott, it was pretty serious diabetes. You had some really serious problems. Tell us what caused you to go to the doctor in the first place when you were told that you were diabetic.
Well, let's see. It was the late November, early December when I was walking around doing some stuff for my daughter. I noticed a slight leakage in my boot, and I looked down, and in my sock, it had some blood on it, and I took my sock off. It was kind of caked with blood, and I said, "What in the world's going on here?" So I took my sock off, and I noticed I had a hole in my foot, on the bottom. I've never noticed it before, and it was. I should have known right then and there that I had problems, but well, my wife took me to the doctor that night, and they pricked my finger, and they said, "You got diabetes." I came out at 258. I didn't know anything about the big number or nothing like that. 258 didn't mean anything to me.
Did the doctor explain to you that that was very serious?
Yes, he said it's pretty high, and I said, well, okay. And gosh, it was just out of the blue. But he said, you got to look at this injury. So I looked at it. It was a foot ulcer, and he said it's right near the bone. He said, if you don't clear this up, you might have to lose your foot. So, and I said, what do I do? Yeah, yeah, it was. And I said, well, I told him, what do I have to do to do this to get better? And he told me, well, you're going to have to change your way you're living, I guess. Change your diet. And I said, I didn't understand that either. I said, what's the diet going to do to help this out? And well, anyway, we just put some medicine on it first and everything. Then I changed my diet the next day. So,
wow. Well, that's got to be a real wake-up call.
Yeah. It was going to be, it was just going to be me changing it. He didn't tell me anything how to change my diet. He said, what you're eating now probably isn't working for you anymore. So you're going to have to figure it out yourself. And that's where I found you probably the next day or so on the internet.
So you went home. You really didn't get a lot of information from your doctor as to what to do other than you've got to change. He knew that much, and you knew that much. So you go onto YouTube, apparently, and you typed in something about diabetes, and you saw one of my videos. Is that right?
Yeah. I typed in diabetes, and yours came up first, Beat Diabetes. I looked at your stuff first, and I said, this guy knows what he's talking about, I think.
And it didn't take you very long to figure out the kind of diet you needed after watching my videos.
I listened to you for about, 5 or 6 shows. They were pretty information was great and everything. I changed my way I did things from then on. So before, I was doing the standard American diet. It was just, I was doing potato chips. I shouldn't have been doing potato chips. My wife told me, you got to stop doing this. For 50, here I am, a 58-year-old, and I said, I got to stop doing that. But I never listened to her. I didn't think anything of it. And I was eating all the bad stuff, I guess. But I always thought spaghetti and all that was good for me. But of course, it has way too many carbs. I never thought about carbs before. It's just crazy.
So it sounds like it didn't take you very long to figure out which foods you needed to cut back. Tell us a few of the foods you struck from your diet, some of the common foods that you just said enough, no more.
Oh, let's see. Well, breads. No more breads, no more cereal. And no more fruit juice, no more potato chips, no more grains, pasta, like that.
Now, we need to tell our viewers that you're a farmer, and farmers, of course, are associated with grain. You're kind of an unusual farmer that you decided to do away with eating grains.
Yeah, we raise beef cattle, and also we grow crops also.
So you really didn't have any difficulty moving that direction. Sounds like it happened pretty fast. You must have been convinced pretty quickly this is the way you needed to go and made those changes pretty much immediately.
Yep. I just said, if I'm gonna save my foot, I better change immediately, and I did. So. Also, my health was probably not as good as it should have been. Because when you have a 9.4 A1c, I finally figured out what A1c meant and all that stuff.
Now, 9.4 is quite high, and you had a little extra motivation that some diabetics don't have, and that is you were faced with the possibility of losing your foot. And I'm sure you're a pretty active guy, and that would not have been a good situation for you.
No, it sure wouldn't have been. It's something that you look through, and I mean, you just kind of get scared straight, I guess.
So, Scott, there are usually a couple of stages to beating this thing. One is you get the revelation, I really need to cut the carbs down. And secondly, there's the encouragement that comes at some point where you say, this just seems to be working, and your motivation suddenly goes through the roof. Did it take you very long to see how well your new diet was working?
Well, it took about a month, I suppose, before I finally saw my numbers getting down to about 100. My morning glucose was about, when I woke up in the mornings, took about a month before it reached about 100.
And before that, it was like 250 or something like that, right? So this was a major decrease.
Yeah. Right when I started, it was and that was at night. That was 258 at night. I never thought.
Okay, what was it in the morning in those days?
It was 305 the next day after I got tested the first time. It was 305. Then a month later, it got down to 100. And then it's been about, I go between 85 and 100, I suppose, since then.
And what about your foot? Did you notice your foot improving?
Yeah, I went to a specialist also, a foot specialist, and it improved tremendously. He said he never saw anything improve so fast. I mean, with the low carb diet, he never saw the improvement in my foot improved so much in just a short time.
That must have been thrilling to hear a doctor tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, and I'm an avid walker, so it really helps me out because I love to walk. I love to walk every morning.
Okay, let's talk about medication. Did the doctor give you some medication to take initially?
Yeah, they gave me some Metformin and also high blood pressure medicine because my blood pressure was a little elevated that day I was there. And also, they gave me something else, but I can't remember what it was. But I didn't take that after a while. I quit taking whatever it was. I'm sorry, I can't think of what it was. But the Metformin and the high blood pressure medicine is what I had for a while. And then I decided, why am I taking this high blood pressure medicine? Because my blood pressure wasn't elevated after I did this. So I quit taking that.
And then the Metformin, did you continue taking that?
Yeah, I took that till July of 2019. Then we decided that was enough of that. I haven't taken it since then.
So was that when you had your 3-month checkup with the doctor?
Let's see, it was in March of 2019. It went down to 5.0 on my A1c.
Okay, so you went from 9.4 to 5.0 in 3 months' time. Is that right?
Yep.
Well, I just think that's amazing. I mean, 5.0. There are diabetics struggling just to get down a single point from the 8s to the 7s. And here you are going from the 9s to 5.0, which you probably hadn't seen since you were maybe in high school.
Probably 30 years old.
That had to have felt pretty good. Was the doctor surprised? Did he say, wow, what in the world's going on?
Yeah, he was. He goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to do this? And I tell him, and he goes, well, sometimes they kind of look at you a little strange, I think.
So you're not sure you made a believer out of him?
Well, I hope so.
Okay, so you were at 5.0, and then about 6 months later, you quit the Metformin. Is that right?
Yep. It was down to 4.9 then. And he said, that's enough of that, I guess. I think you're doing fine without the medicine. So everything works a lot better without taking Metformin, that's for sure.
So when you quit the Metformin, and by now you were established in a low-carb diet, did your numbers go back up as a result of not having the Metformin, or did they stay pretty much at the same level?
I thought, well, I'm not going to have this crutch to lean on, so I thought for sure the numbers would go up a little bit, but they went down, I think. I think they've kind of, I think they've really, morning glucose is around, like I said, probably sometimes I might have a bad day. I might not sleep good at night or something. It's usually 85 to 100 in the mornings. Afternoons are about 88, and evenings are in the low 80s too.
Wow. Well, you're just doing wonderful, Scott. So you're still going to the doctor every 3 months?
Yeah, I just got one last month. It was 4.8. So.
4.8. Wow. Well, my friend, I have to say I'm a little envious. I'm not sure I've ever had one that low, although I've been doing a little better lately. But it's guys like you that inspire me. I hear your story, and it's like, well, I'm supposed to be the mentor, but I need to be mentored by you. Scott, you're just doing fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I also I had a bad case of psoriasis since I was a kid. I've had psoriasis probably since I was 5 years old. So that's almost 55 years. And ever since I went on this low carb thing, it cleared up my psoriasis, except for a few patches, just a few patches. It's amazing what low carb does for somebody.
I hear so many people say things along those lines with different afflictions that they've had. These afflictions just disappear, and they weren't even looking for that to happen, and yet I hear it again and again. I went low carb and this went away. I went low carb and that went away. I had irritable bowel syndrome that went away when I went low carb, and it just seems like our bodies were not made for us to be drinking and devouring all those carbs. And when you stop doing that, amazing and very positive things begin to happen.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's something like maybe God sends down to you saying, you're going to do something. You're going to do something good for yourself, finally, instead of being a gluttony, eating bad food all the time.
Well, tell me, how was your wife during this whole process? Did she understand your new diet and lifestyle?
Yeah, she's a good cook, and she makes keto stuff for me now. She's tremendous on that stuff. I mean, she wants to keep me around, I guess.
Well, I'm sure that is true. You went from an A1c in the 9s to an A1c in the 4s, which is absolutely phenomenal. You went from fasting glucose of over 300 to fasting glucose between 85 and 100. Again, phenomenal. You don't take blood pressure medications anymore, right?
No, I don't.
And you lost quite a bit of weight as well, right? Tell us what you were initially and how much weight you've lost.
I weighed 200 pounds when I started. I'm 5'10", so 200 pounds. Well, not terribly big, I guess, but I looked a little puffy in my pictures. And I'm down to 160 right now. So I lost 40 pounds. Well, I did lose almost 50 pounds, but I thought that was a little too skinny for me. I was just maybe getting a little too skinny. I got down to 151. But I'm kind of leveled out at 160, and I feel pretty good at that.
Well, you and I are the same height. I'm 5'10" as well, and when I drop into the 150s, I just look skinny, and I look into the mirror and I say, I better put on a few extra pounds. Anyway, thank you for sharing your story, Scott. It is exciting. The word that you want to use in such a case is miraculous, but you realize that you just took some simple steps and it flat out worked, and we have seen this happen again and again and again. Thank you so much, Scott, and may God bless you with a long, healthy, prosperous life.
Well, you're welcome, Dennis.